Hi everyone. Today we're going to be doing a VOD review of my weekly key. This was a team Ecodome Aldani, and I'll also kind of be doing a walkthrough of what I'm doing and what I'm thinking about for people that are interested in that type of thing. Places where I'm trying to improve on are better use of my Convoke the Spirits in an offensive manner, not overlapping my stops and kicks as much as I have, and overall just getting better at cat weaving. So here is the key. I don't know if I show my talents here, but I'm running my sort of custom build. Um, I do not take double rejuve, but I do take twin leaf and the time reduction on uh, nature swiftness.
Five, four, three, two, one.
So when I start this key, I like to try and hot up my team as I get to the door. There's a lot of damage that goes out while everyone's getting sort of gathered in position between the jumpers and the slams, so having a couple of hots out is nice. I also tend to pop my trinket and use Convoke fairly early into the pull. Yep, so there goes the trinket. I always keep one of the Gorgers targeted so I can help interrupt and stop. So you see I put my Skull Bash and my Incap on cooldown right away. This is a good pull to sort of bark skin on pull. It really helps minimize the damage that you're taking from all of the jumpers and the two smashes that are going out, and allows you to focus on stabilizing your team. But as you can see there, I didn't get in to apply my rakes until the very end, so there's a lot of improvement that could be done there.
The Devourers seem to be coming from the Annex. Stop them at the source so we can
Let's see if I can
retrieve our
increase the
attention
video
before time.
quality. I do run the talent that allows tranquility to give cooldown reduction. I've been trying to be a little bit more liberal with my trank use to get a lot more value out of that to reset my convokes.
I cannot use that item yet.
So I've been saving my convoke for this entire pack.
Look
I
out!
tend to try and use
Something
it
is coming up!
defensively only for the heals, and I could have used it. It would be back up on cooldown by now probably, or very shortly, and I would have been able to use it in an offensive manner to add and improve on my DPS. So that's something to be mindful of in the future for myself. I always try to bear form the ejections to help mitigate the damage if I don't have bark skin up. For people that were wanting to know more of the basics of Resto Druid play, if you look at the center of my cursor, I have a weak aura that lets me know when I do not have Life Bloom or
Stop calling me names!
Efflorescence applied. And really, that's the core of the gameplay: is just keeping down your Efflorescence, using your Life Blooms, pressing your Wild Growth mostly on cooldown, and just kind of regrowth spam from there. So here I take my puddle out to the side. I should have bark skinned, but that's okay. So I swap my life blooms as soon as the puddle targets change to help get those mastery stacks out. But the hunter and the paladin don't take too much damage. One thing I need to get better at is learning which classes can mitigate which mechanics. Um, I sort of prepare universally, which is helpful in pugs. All of my runs are done like purely pugging, so I never really know who's going to use their buttons. So I just prepare as if no one's going to use any of their buttons.
It's calling more in.
This is another fight where the after the first set of debuffs come out, the second set of debuffs are predictable as to who's going to get them, so it really helps with your life bloom application. But again, other than that, there's not too much damage or anything that goes out. Try to do your best to maintain your rake and your rip on the boss and do as much DPS as you can otherwise.
Trying to draw you in.
I do like to use my Nature's Vigil during this phase because there's a bit more damage out. And I also lean on my Convoke uh, on this portion as well, just to kind of help keep the group topped up and feeling comfortable. That being said, as we get to the end of this pull, there wasn't a route posted by the tank at the start of the dungeon, so I didn't know whether or not we were going to be doing a skip on the next pull. So the next pull could be a Sentinel, which are one of the harder mobs to pull, or we're going to be doing a skip, and at the time I didn't know what it was. So I wanted to make sure I had as many cooldowns available for that as possible.
With that thing dead, we can return to the real problem.
So going into this next area, I always try to make the Ritualist my focus target. The arcane bolts are the important thing to like be aware of and try and kick as many as possible. So it looks like the Ritualist is dead, so I feel a little bit more comfortable just kind of getting in and spreading all of my dots around, trying to get some DPS in. But again, I'm sitting at 400k, which is not great. But it's quick to recover. As I start to push higher keys, I really do need to work on adding more to my DPS. But for now, my sort of very defensive play style is doing okay. And even though I was late to DPS, I still ended with around a million, which is it's not terrible.
They have brought so many. They seek the complete
So again,
annihilation
finding the
of the place.
Ritualist, targeting it, and trying to keep as many of the bolts locked down as possible.
Star lives. My oath stands. This place falls.
So one thing to be mindful of when you're fighting a Sentinel with Runestalkers is an overlap of the sort of bolts where he hits you guys with the purple puddles and the leaps that they do. So I try to send my trinket as soon as the sort of puddle mechanic comes out, and then once my shield or the majority of the group's shields are consumed, I'll roll that into Bark Skin followed by Convoke. And so that's where I'm at right now. Um, this is a good pull as a Resto Druid to lean on your renewal, because it can help keep you topped up. It's off the global cooldown and it's instant, so it lets you kind of top yourself up while you're still in the process of getting everybody else. Don't be afraid to potion and send your Iron Bark here if you need it. But we managed the pull. There's no ritualists here, so I'm kind of feeling okay to just heal as needed. I can focus on the zap. As a Resto Druid, you do have two ways of dealing with the Runestalkers. Three, actually. So you can in-cap Roar, and it will cause the sort of Warp Line Strike to be stunned and not go off. You can also Ursul's Vortex, if that's something that you talent into, and when they jump out to do the sort of warp mechanic, it will it'll interrupt it and suck them back in. The other thing you can do is you can Typhoon them. So we did have a death. I'm just gonna back up a couple of seconds and take a look. Let's see what hit him. Okay, so it looks like there was a bolt that went off. Where is he? He's chilling in the corner over there. Poor guy. Keep showing his death. So I take a while to stabilize here. Just make sure everyone's topped up. I do get to use my rebirth with the nature swiftness charge, so it goes off instant. Alright, so we're pulling another Sentinel right now. I think what I need to do is move up a little bit and pick sort of my focus target. Right now, I think I'll probably target... Oh, it looks like we have a Ritualist, so I should find that and keep an eye out for bolts. My team's kicks are starting to be used up. So I don't think I went in there because I was playing a little bit scared. I didn't want to run into any of the frontals from the Sentinel, and I didn't want to step into anybody's puddles, so I was kind of playing a little bit scared and defensive. I wasn't helping my team out with my kick as I could have been. I should have bark skinned. I didn't send it there, so that was bad on me, but we were okay. Yeah, I thought I might push him, but the DK gripped him. So we had another death. I believe that was a bolt that went through as well. Yeah, zap, bolt from the back. Yep. There were no kicks available. I didn't have my stop. I could have typhooned him, Um, I am pretty bad with my Typhoon use. Oftentimes I'm scared of sort of booping the mobs out of position that ends up making the tank take back hits or something like that. Um, it would have been a pretty good stop on that last bolt that killed the paladin, but I didn't have the presence of mind to do it at the time. I probably don't need to use my in-cap roar to stop the warp stalkers as much as I do. It's a pretty easy mechanic to it's a pretty easy mechanic to deal with, so I should just be saving it for the bolts. Um, a lot of times I do it for my own comfort, just to get rid of the lines that I see on the ground. But maybe that's something I can work on. But again, if there's ritualists, target them, but no ritualists here, so I can focus on stopping the arcane zap and otherwise just healing the team. Of the dungeons in the pool, this is probably like number 2 or 3 in terms of like easy to heal dungeons, for me at least. It's up there with Gambit and Streets. So as we go into the boss, one of the things that I want to be mindful of is what mobs are we dragging in with them. Every tank has a little bit of a different route, but I want to be mindful of the kicks. So it looks like we're going to have one of the far stalkers with us, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably keep that as like my sort of focused target to try and kick the zaps, and then yeah, do that rather than sort of focusing solely on the boss. So as the javelins come out, I like to apply my life blooms once the or before the debuff comes to help with the regrowth spam. The dot does really kind of hurt, but I also try to save my throughput cooldowns and my defensives for this phase. Normally what I'll do is I'll apply some hots, I'll open up with my trinket. Yeah, it looks like I used my trinket right there. Kind of run around. I trinket first, convoke second, because convoke allows me the ability to move if I need to catch up, and then also bring a beam to wherever it is that I need to go. So I missed the opportunity during the damage amp phase to do a bit more damage, but in my opinion, sort of um, stabilizing the team should always take priority. I don't trust my hots as well as I should. So I did the javelin. I should bark skin here. Yep, good. Yeah, I need to trust my hots a little bit more to do their job, but for now I like to see health bars topped up. So swap my life blooms to the targets. I didn't really know what the paladin was doing up here. I figured he was doing some sort of like paladin shenanigans. That'll make him drop his stacks, but or Death Knight rather. This should be a reminder to myself. I wonder if I can shadow meld that mechanic off. Okay, again, open with a trinket. There comes the Convoke for movement. I don't really need to move, but I just used it to feel good. I probably didn't need to use it there, and I could have saved it for some more DPS here in this phase. Two talents that I don't play currently are Heart of the Wild and Call of the Elder Druid. Um, I might spend some time trying to look at ways to fit those into my spec to sort of increase the amount of damage. Got a little worried about my team on this portion. I saw that the boss was fairly low, and I didn't think they were gonna kill my javelin. These stacks do start to kind of hurt. But they free me up, and the boss is gonna die. Alright, so coming into the pack, I find the ritualist, apply some dots, get my kick on cooldown. I'm probably gonna I already used my stop. Wasn't paying attention enough. Alright, so the ritualist is dead. I can focus the Farstalker next for my kick. Alright, so I probably want to swap targets, yep, and then kick this one. Cool. And now I think I should go into spreading my rakes. But instead it looks like I'm just gonna swipe a bunch. You get a lot more value out of spreading your rakes because you get your Bloodseeker vines out more that way. So that's probably what I should have been doing. The one thing that I do use rake at is, I can be feeling stressed during the pulls and using swipe rather. So I can be stressed during the pulls, and using swipe is a way to do some DPS, keep my buttons being pressed, but kind of shut my brain off for a second as like a mental reset to kind of prep myself for whatever's coming next. That is one way you'll see me using my rejuvenation is if I just need a minute to kind of chill, just apply some rejuves while I kind of let my brain reset. So I like to kick the ritualist that we pull into this pack as we kind of get into position. Um, if you don't kick it, he just stays in the back. Ultimately, saw the Death Knight grip him into, which was nice. So again, target the ritualist, get your kick on cooldown. Be mindful of how many of these bugs that your tank is pulling over here. The Gloom Bite actually can be a pretty gnarly heal absorb that you have to work on, and I think it's a dot as well. So if you have a tank that is pulling multiple bugs, really be prepared to give them some love. Send out Iron Bark if you have it. Don't underestimate how much that dot can really stack up, and that heal absorb really.
You built this place on the high temple of Koresh and questioned my wrath. It was the only place our plans
I do love playing with warriors this season. They don't need nearly as much attention as some of the other tanks.
but destruction. You have no right to this power.
Yeah, so this was another pull where my DPS was very poor. I could have done a lot more. But again, I was mostly focusing on my personal positioning as to not eat any of the mechanics and interrupting the arcing zap.
Too far away. I need to get closer.
again, common theme, find the ritualist, stop the bolts. So I don't have a timer for when the erratic ritual is coming out, but that's a good time to use one of your throughput cooldowns. Um, I try not to overlap two of them if I can help it, because you know that you're going to have to do a number of the erratic rituals, at least two on this fight, and then depending on how the tank chains the pull, I never know if they're going to be pulling the other set of pack speakers with this one. So like, I want to try and only use one, keep it at the ready for another one, just in case it gets hairy. So I opened with my trinket, I used my trinket on the next one. I'm going to have Convoke for the next pack, so that'll be good. If you have the ability to wreath stealth in between packs, it's nice because you can use your opening stun. Um, but for now, it's just find the ritualist and stop the bolts. Alright, hopefully I bark skin here. There's gonna be the ritual coming up. I'll probably won't bark skin it actually. I bet you I'm just gonna nature swiftness convoke. So I've mentioned this before, but if you look down below, I do have Nature Swiftness T-bound. The thing that you see me clicking is a macro that does a couple of things. It's cast Nature's Vigil, cast Nature's Swiftness, and cancel form. Um, I had a couple of issues earlier in the season where I would um, convoke in cat form on accident. So I use that kind of as a fail-safe when I like really want to make sure that I'm not gonna mess up and fat finger something. It's also a really good way to sort of roll in your nature's vigil into a time where you think you're gonna get benefit out of it, because you do send out a lot of regrowths.
What do your destinies offer? Fate written in suffering.
The main thing that I would recommend for a healer in this fight, specifically a Resto Druid, is really respect the circles when they send them out. The lines don't hurt as much, but for the circles, you have a fairly large burst followed by a fairly large burst. So that's a great time to use your defensive, use your bear form, your bark skin. So I picked up all three of my ghosts right away. It is better to sort of stagger when you pick them up so you can milk the duration of the buff. But that being said, I did think my third ghost, I couldn't tell if it was overlapped, and I'd rather not let it explode and take a debuff. So here comes the circles. Let's see if I mitigate. Yep. So here comes my bark skin. I was looking for my trinket, but I didn't have it. I sent it there. I probably could have saved it for the next time around or for the little intermission phase, but that's alright.
A vision of your fate.
So Convoke there, because I knew there wasn't much going on. I always knew I have Trank in case I need it. Yeah, so here I kind of wait to pick up my third ghost. Gives me a little bit more time. Hopefully I get my dots out. Yep.
A vision of your fate!
It's always nice when you get a close spawn for your ghost. Damn, here comes the circles. I probably won't mitigate it because I think she's gonna die.
A vision of your
Nope, there we go. Good play. Prepare for it. Yeah, so that was my 18 Ecodome that I had this week. It was a vault key, and I was using it to hopefully get something that I needed. I got that 19 Arakara, so that was good.
There was always
I'll put the link to the build I was running down below in the comments section. It looks like I didn't flash my talents, so yeah. You know what? Maybe I did at the end here. Let's see where I go. But yeah, if you guys like this content, feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll be doing some more of these during midnight as the new season comes out. Hopefully, I'll be able to do it a little bit earlier in this season. But thanks for stopping by.